Webb telescope, we see this glow of light, but usually around comets, the glow is produced by dust, and the dust scatters sunlight, and then the dust is pushed back by sunlight, and that's why we see a cometary tail trailing behind comets. In this case, the glow is in front of the object towards the sun, and it's not really clear why. And
Harvard astronomers have gone on record saying that this is actually an alien spacecraft.
The physics of it does not make any sense.
What the hell is this thing, and when is it showing up?
The ghost that has haunted astronomy for 50 years wasn't a ghost. It was a broadcast. And we think we've just found the transmitter. All right, everyone, take a deep breath. We need to open a dossier on this together, because the theory being put forward right now, championed by credible and controversial figures like Harvard's Avi Loeb, is one of the most profound and frankly terrifying ideas in modern history. For decades, we've treated the wow signal as the ultimate cosmic cold case. It was this perfect 72-second whisper in the dark, a powerful radio burst that had all the hallmarks of an intelligent message. But it was a ghost. It vanished without a trace, and for nearly half a century, that's where the story ended. But the core hypothesis we're examining tonight rips that story to shreds. It suggests the source wasn't some distant, unknown star system. The source was an interstellar object named 3I ATLS, and that object is inside our solar system right now. This isn't a historical event anymore. It's an active one. Let's look at the first piece of evidence in our dossier, the one that makes this entire terrifying scenario plausible. We have to go back to the exact night the signal was received, August 15th, 1977. Using our modern understanding of celestial mechanics, we can now rewind the clock and calculate the precise location of 3I ATLS in the sky on that night. And what we found is chilling. Its position was an almost perfect match for the signal's origin. We're talking about a separation of just a few degrees in the vastness of space. The alignment is so tight that the statistical probability of it being a random, sheer coincidence is virtually zero. The calculated odds are just 0.6%. Let's put that number into perspective. That's like throwing a dart from London and hitting a specific single car window in Tokyo. It's not just unlikely, it strains credulity to the breaking point. When you have an anomaly that precise, you have to start considering that it wasn't a lucky chance. You have to start considering that it might have been a targeting vector. But as disturbing as that is, it's the next piece of evidence that is genuinely bone-chilling. We need to talk about the physics of a radio signal. Like a ripple in a pond, a signal gets exponentially weaker the farther it travels. For our relatively small Big Ear telescope in 1977 to have picked up a signal so strong from 3I ATLS's calculated location, over 600 times farther away than the Earth is from the Sun, the object that sent it would have needed a power source on a scale that is simply staggering. The math is clear and unforgiving on this. It would require a transmitter blasting out somewhere between 0.5 and 2 gigawatts of focused energy. Let's be absolutely clear what that means. That isn't just a powerful signal. That is the energy output of a nuclear power reactor. That is enough electricity to power a major city, all focused into a single narrowband broadcast. Comets don't do that. Interstellar dust clouds don't do that. No natural astrophysical phenomenon we have ever discovered can explain that. That is not nature. That is the signature of immense directed power. It is, by any reasonable definition, the signature of technology. So when we lay the two key pieces of evidence for Mod Dossier side by side, the implication is horrifying. An object with a near impossible positional alignment to the wow signal also happens to be the only type of object that could explain its nuclear-scaled power signature. It means an object with advanced, powerful technology may have deliberately crossed our line of sight 50 years ago, sent a single, powerful ping,
and has been silently approaching ever since. This forces us to stop asking what sent the signal and start asking something far more urgent and much, much darker.
So what do you do when you realize a potential alien artifact with a nuclear-scale power signature might be speeding through your cosmic backyard? You point every single camera, every sensor, every telescope you have at it, immediately. And that is exactly what is happening right now. We are witnessing one of the most unprecedented and rapid mobilizations of scientific assets in the history of space exploration. Forget normal mission parameters and scheduled observations. NASA, the ESA, and their partners are scrambling, dropping everything to get a look at 3I Atlas. This isn't just a scientific curiosity anymore. The priority has been cranked to the absolute maximum. We're talking about a full-court press, a true hunting party. Let's start with the big guns, the titans of astronomy that are being retasked as we speak. The Hubble Space Telescope, our venerable eye in the sky for over 3 decades, is dedicating a significant portion of its observation time to tracking the object. Its powerful optics are giving us our clearest views yet, in visible and ultraviolet light, allowing us to analyze its rotation, its brightness, and to search for any small fragments or debris that might be accompanying it on its journey. At the same time, the James Webb Space Telescope is bringing its full incredible power to bear. While Hubble sees the object, JWST is designed to interrogate it. Its infrared instruments are piercing through any potential dust or gas cloud, the coma, to analyze the actual surface. We're getting our first real data on its chemical composition. What is this thing made of? Is it emitting heat? And more importantly, is it emitting heat in a way that a cold inner rock or icy comet has no business doing? The JWST is our best tool for sniffing out a technological heat signature. But this hunt isn't just happening from Earth's orbit. We're using assets spread across the entire solar system. The Parker Solar Probe, a mission designed to fly directly through the sun's corona, is having its unique flight path leveraged. As it slingshots around the sun, its instruments, built to withstand the most extreme environment in the solar system, are getting a different angle, studying how 3I Atlas interacts with the solar wind and the sun's intense magnetic fields. Is the object creating its own magnetosphere, a magnetic field? That's another key indicator of technology that a simple comet shouldn't have. And then there's our forward operating base, Mars. The red planet is currently in a prime position to get a closer look, and we are using every tool we have there. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO, is turning its incredibly powerful high-rise camera away from the Martian surface and pointing it out into the black, trying to get unprecedented high-resolution images. Think about the sheer gravity of this situation. We are even using a robot on the surface of another planet to stare up at the sky. The Perseverance Mars rover is pointing its Mastcam-Z skyward, attempting to capture images of this interstellar visitor from a completely different world. This is the astronomical equivalent of throwing the kitchen sink at a problem. Every instrument, from the most powerful telescopes ever built to a rover on the plains of Mars, is now pointed at this one object. The first wave of data from this full-scale hunt is just starting to be analyzed, and what it's beginning to tell us about the object's physical makeup is even stranger than we could have possibly imagined. So what if we found, with all that firepower pointed at 3I Atlas, the data coming back isn't just strange, it's forcing a conversation that just a few months ago would have been considered scientific heresy? This is the point where we have to stop talking about this object as if it's just a comet. The data we're getting from the observation campaign is so bizarre, so far outside the norm, that we have to seriously discuss the ET probe theory. This is the hypothesis, championed by scientists like Avi Loeb, that 3I Atlas isn't a natural object at all, but a piece of extraterrestrial technology. And the arguments for it are becoming unnervingly compelling. Let's start with the first anomaly, its sheer, mind-boggling mass. Based on its trajectory and how it's affecting tiny objects around it, we've calculated its minimum mass to be around 33 billion tons. To put that in perspective, that is the mass of over 5,000 Great Pyramids of Giza. Imagine all of that stone, all of that material, fused into a single object, hurtling through our solar system. An interstellar visitor of this size is a massive statistical outlier. It's something our models predicted we wouldn't see for centuries, if ever. It is, to put it bluntly, a behemoth. But while its size is shocking, it's the data from the James Webb Space Telescope that has truly thrown scientists into a state of confusion. The JWST performed a spectroscopic analysis, breaking down the light reflecting off the object to determine its composition. What it found is almost unbelievable. We are detecting significant amounts of nickel, but with a conspicuous and profound absence of iron. Let's be very clear why this is so strange. In nature, nickel and iron are cosmic brothers. They are almost always found together in asteroids and meteorites because they're forged together in the hearts of dying stars. To find a large concentration of nickel without a corresponding amount of iron is not something nature does. It's something we do. A high-purity nickel alloy is an industrial product, prized for its incredible strength and resistance to corrosion and radiation. It is exactly what you would want to use if you were building a probe designed to survive a journey of millions of years through the harsh environment between the stars. The third anomaly is what seals the deal for many. We can clearly see jets of gas and dust venting from the object, just like a comet sublimating in the sun's heat. But here's the problem. Despite these powerful-looking jets, the object is showing very low non-gravitational acceleration. In other words, the push it's getting from these jets is incredibly inefficient. It's like seeing the giant engines of a rocket firing at full blast, but the rocket is barely moving. This contradiction leaves us with two possibilities. Either this is a completely new kind of comet that violates the known principles of physics, or those jets aren't primarily for propulsion. They could be a byproduct of something else entirely, a cooling system, a waste vent, or a mechanism related to an internal power source. So let's recap what we're looking at. We have an object of impossibly large mass, made of a material that strongly resembles a man-made industrial alloy, and it's moving in a way that defies the logic of its own visible jets. Any one of these anomalies would make 3I/Atlas the most fascinating object in the sky. All three of them together in a single object? As Avi Loeb and others have pointed out, the probability of a natural comet having all these characteristics simultaneously is vanishingly, infinitesimally small. We are no longer just asking, is it a strange comet? The data is forcing us and the scientific community at large to seriously ask, are we looking at a piece of functioning extraterrestrial technology right here, right now, in our own solar system? The situation is developing faster than anyone predicted, and we'll be here to analyze every new piece of data that comes in. If you want to stay on top of what could be the most important story in human history, make sure you're subscribed, like this video, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. The answers are coming, one way or another.